Are you thinking about renting when you move to Omaha? A lot of people do, especially when they're not quite sure where they want to live yet. But here's the thing, waiting in Omaha could cost you more than you think. In this video, I'll show you what renting actually costs in Omaha, and I'm going to give you 4 real-life examples of renting versus owning in different neighborhoods around town, including one where renting cost $24,000 more in 1 year. And hey, before we dig too deep into numbers, if you find this kind of content helpful, make sure to give it a like and a subscribe to make sure that other people like you see my stuff and that you are notified when new videos are published. And hey, if we haven't met, my name's Chris Jameson. I'm a local real estate agent here in Omaha. I'm licensed in Nebraska and Iowa. I've been in business for 10 years. I help families moving from out of state figure out where to live, what makes the best financial sense, and how to avoid the common mistakes people make when moving here. As you can see from this graph, Omaha market as a whole stays pretty steady. We don't see too many dips along with the national averages, including the market crash in around 2008. We never really saw a dip in prices. So appreciation is always at a minimum 3 to 4%. So the longer you wait, the more your house is going to cost. That $300,000 home this year could be $310,000 to $320,000 next year. You're going to miss out on that appreciation when you rent. This data is from the Zillow Rentals, with showing that Omaha's average rent is $2,025 and there's 317 available units. That shows you that the rental market is pretty tight. There's not a whole lot of variety out there for you to choose from, and you might end up with something that you're not exactly thrilled with if you choose to go renting. If you're watching this and you're relocating to Omaha, let's create a simple plan. I'll help you figure out the right move, whether it's buying now or renting while you're getting settled. I've helped dozens of families do this, and I'd love to help you too. You can grab a time slot to meet with me below in the description or scan the QR code. Let's talk about the pros and cons of renting in Omaha. Let's be honest, some of these look great on paper, others not so much. Some of the pros are you're going to have flexibility. You're not locked into a certain area or school district when you first move, which can help if you're not quite sure where you want to live yet. You're going to have lower upfront costs. You won't have the down payment plus the closing costs. You're just going to have probably a deposit and maybe, another month's rent. Renting comes with less responsibility. If that furnace breaks down or your water heater stops working, that's on the landlord. And if you're in a time pinch, renting can be faster. You don't have to jump through all the hoops with getting a loan and closing in 30 to 45 days. You could technically have a rental within the next week or two if you can find the right one. Now let's talk about some of the cons. You might be paying high rent for low value. Paying $2,000 for a home that has beige walls, faded carpet, and a thermostat that's stuck on either sauna or freezer could be a problem. And monthly rent usually equals right around where your mortgage payment would be. No equity means no return. You're building your landlord's wealth. And with only 317 units on the market right now, your inventory is limited, so it might mean that you don't get the exact home you want in the neighborhood you want. Another thing is moving twice kind of stinks. If you rent first and buy later, that's 2 moves. And nothing says welcome to Omaha like paying movers twice and having your kid complain that the couch is in the wrong living room again. And if you've got furry friends, those pet fees and deposits add up quick. Expect another $25 to $50 a month for pet rent, plus in a lot of cases a non-refundable deposit. You might think your 12-pound miniature golden doodle is the best thing in the world, but your landlord will see it as just another $50 a month. Now let's talk the pros and cons about buying. Some of the pros are you're going to start building that equity immediately. Every month you pay a little bit of that principal down, as well as you're going to see appreciation in the home year over year. Typically with buying, your payment's going to be a little bit more stable too. Your landlord's not going to be jacking up your rent every year. You might see some increases due to taxes or insurance, but if rates go down, you could also refinance and end up with a lower payment. There's more selection. More homes available on the market means you have more choices to make. You might be able to get that school district or neighborhood that you really are looking forward to. There's also tax benefits. Your mortgage, interest, and taxes are often write-offs for your taxes. There's also an emotional investment. You'll feel more settled if you own your home. And again, if you have those pets, it gives you more freedom. You can put up a fence or a dog door anytime you want, and you don't have to worry about a landlord. Now, some of the cons. You're going to have a little bit more upfront cost. You got closing costs plus your down payment to worry about. If you're a first-time buyer, this might be a little bit harder to handle. If you're selling a home that you have to take the equity out of before you buy, that could be a time constraint you have to worry about. Let's also talk about commitment anxiety. Buying a house before checking out the coffee shops in the area can be like getting engaged on a second date. I get it. What if you pick the wrong area? And what about that maintenance? If you're the landlord, that furnace goes out, it's going to be your responsibility. Sure, you're on the hook for repairs, but nothing brings the family together like watching YouTube tutorials while one person holds a flashlight and panics. And last thing is the timeline. Sometimes it just isn't going to line up. You might need to move too fast, or your home doesn't sell where you're moving from, and that can cause problems. If you're not quite sure where you want to live in Omaha, I made a free quiz that you can take to guide you into the right direction of the different neighborhoods and what would fit your vibe or your needs. There's a link in the description where you can take that quiz. Now let's hop into some real life examples of what you can expect for renting and buying in Omaha in 2025. First up, we're going to look at a 3-bed, 2-bath in Elkhorn. This is a split entry, about 1,500 square feet. You can buy for $295,000, which would equate a mortgage payment about $2,279, depending on how much down payment you give. Or for $2,100, you could rent about the same home. The thing that's really going to get you is the equity you could have gained by buying versus renting. Looking at this graph, you can see that even putting down 3.5% still gives you more at the end of the first year than you would have if you just rented. Next up is a 4-bed, 3-bath ranch in Papillion with 3,362 square feet. You can rent this thing for $3,400 a month, and you could buy something similar for $655,000. This is a 4-bed, 3-bath with 3,522 square feet. And depending on your down payment, right around that $4,800 mark for your mortgage. Looking at the comparison here, you can see that you about break even within 1 year by putting at least 10% down, and you're ahead of the game if you put 20% down. So if you're here short term and don't have a lot of cash on hand, it might be better to rent this one. Next, let's head over to the Aksarben area where you can rent this 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,700 square foot, 1.5 story for $2,300 a month. Or you could buy something similar at a 3-bed, 2-bath with 1,700 square feet for $300,000, which would put your payment right around $2,320. You can see by checking out the comparison here, it makes sense to buy no matter how much you put down in this neighborhood. Buying saves you anywhere from $9,000 to $15,000 in the first year alone. Last up, I wanted to take you over to Bennington to check out some 2-stories. You can get a 4-bed, 4-bath with 3,800 square feet for $3,800 a month on rent. You can buy a 4-bed, 4-bath with almost 4,000 square feet for $514,000, which would bring your monthly payment to about $3,500. You can see looking at these charts that it makes sense to buy no matter how much you put down in this neighborhood, and you're going to save anywhere between $15,000 and $24,000 by buying just in the first year alone. I've also put together a relocation guide with info on schools, different neighborhoods, my favorite coffee shops in town, favorite restaurants, anything you need to know about the area before you move to kind of give you an idea of the area. You can download that at the link in the description. Hopefully you found this video helpful today, and if you're still trying to figure out what area of town to live in, check out this next video. I break down some of the different neighborhoods in town and how it feels like the city is kind of divided between 2 different areas.